All right, guys, before we get into the video, I want to talk about my YouTube membership program. Every week, I'm offering Metagame Monday After Dark, where I am laying out the blueprint for how to attack the metagame in the coming week. It's the exact same stuff that I'm going to be applying to my decks. You have a front row seat to that. Then I'm also playing Eyes on the Prize, where Eureka22422 and I will be playing out the finals matchups from the previous week of the Legacy Challenges, and you get to see awesome situations like Super Shredder beating turn 3 Emrakul attack. Then, of course, I'm also recording my challenge runs. Sometimes they end up in a win. You have a challenge from round 1 all the way to the finals. And, of course, my 5-0 league runs. All of that stuff is exclusive to my YouTube members. So make the $5 investment, and I'll see you over there. Now enjoy the video. Hey, what's up, guys? Let's play some more Legacy. I'm actually in a Legacy challenge. I'm going to be playing Izzet Tempo. Izzet Tempo is a deck that I like on paper against almost any deck in the format, aside from Demir, Pseudomir. We are putting on pressure early and often with our 1-drops. Days Force, you know the drill. We're supporting Flow State with a couple of preordains. Flex slot being Prismara Charm. Bouncing Murktide, Merid Lage, killing Bowmasters, and just being a fine engine card if, none of the above will apply. This deck is not playing Core Steel Cutter. I'm basically seeing a format that is very, very unfair. So if the format turns more fair, we would have to incorporate that card into the deck. Sideboard, I'm actually playing Sweeperless this tournament, so we're also trying to dodge energy. That is mainly due to the rise of the big mana decks, so we, prioritize those heavily with Consign and Price. And then we have the normal stuff here and a little bit of Baragoyf removal for good measure. All right, let's see what we have here. We have a turn 1 Delver. We'll play first. That's not bad. And then we can kind of go from there with our cantrips, trying to build after knowing what we're up against. Depending on the matchup, ooh, that's not good. That is not good. Depending on the matchup, I might upkeep Brainstorm here, but my opponent might take that card. I guess I take Flow State here. Turn 1 Thoughtseize is fine. We take that any day of the week. Lots of cards would have been worse. Okay. So my opponent doesn't want me to flip here, and unfortunately, this smells of Orcish Bowmaster, so well played here by the opponent, trying to prevent the Delver from flipping. But yeah, I was the greatest, and I managed to flip with Ponder. So let's cast that card. I don't care about getting dazed. Another Delver. Not bad, not bad. I'll actually take that and put on pressure. Now, I know Orcish Bowmasters will kill it, but this is going to make me a little bit Fatal Push proof. So note that if I fetched before, I could have played Delver and secured the flip. But because I wanted to make my Ponder with 1 good card, 2 bad cards better, I decided to slow roll the fetch. So it looks like a punishment, but it was more like an insurance policy. I think that's fair to say. So great start here, but all it takes is like a Bowmasters and a push, and then all of a sudden the aggression will stop. So here's the Bowmaster we predicted after the opponent took our Brainstorm. Because at that point, my opponent wanted to line up. Ooh, that's a good draw. My opponent wanted to line up the Bowmaster already in hand against the Delver if it didn't flip. So I think the play I should make here is work on my opponent's mana. Very weak land drop here for my opponent. So I'm actually going to do this before because of days. Get the island off the board. Then cast a turned on Flow State. I will take the 2 lands here and hedge against my opponent getting frisky with Wasteland. And I guess take the Wasteland to try and get my opponent further into the dirt in case they have some, I don't know, fetch Underground Sea, cast Ponder type of draw. I'm in a bad spot here because I don't have... Okay, the opponent drew the land. That's awesome for them. I'm in a bad spot here because I didn't draw a lightning bolt for the bowmaster or the charm, but yeah, let's see. The opponent did go for a duel. Please don't fatal push me, bro. Okay, fatal push it is. Lightning bolt is great here. Wow, what a great card. So let me wasteland first, lightning bolt the bowmaster, and then start casting cantrips. So if my opponent force wills me here, this game could get tricky, but then they're down, you know, they're down to one card, and I think it's okay for me to start casting cantrips, basically. So could I have played better here? Maybe the better way to play this turn is cast his lightning bolt first before the opponent knows they're getting wasted. Yeah, I botched this turn. Okay. That was not good. These cards are bad. Yeah, yeah, that was bad because now I educated my opponent that they should force over the bolt. But if I just go, oh, the opponent found another land. That's brutal. If I just go bolt before making my land drop, it's harder for my opponent to make the force play. Let's see what this is. Okay, we get very lucky here to catch a flow state with a daze. But we are in a little bit of trouble here. We probably need Murktide Regent to win this game. Prismari Charm, huh? That card is great. So let's go and fire that card right away. Bowmaster ping my opponent. And then the Ponder's unlocked. They don't know about the Delta, which might make them go all in on a denial plan. And then we can kind of recover with Ponder. That's the theory anyway. And then again, if they're a version with, you know, Bowmasters, Kite Tone, what have you, they will sit on this wasteland and use it as a mana source. Okay. Yeah, they'll wasteland me twice here and hope to get to the promised land with the 2/2. What a cool game. Channeler is a better play than Ponder. And now it's up to the opponent to find, I guess, Fatal Push before they're dead, because I will race them. Great draw. Play Channeler. If they have a daze, they have to cast it, but they don't, so now they're facing lethal next turn. Let's see. They need Murktide Regent here, or they're dead. This attack is interesting. So if my opponent has Orcish Bowmasters, I get blown out. So let's think about this. If they have Murktide Regent, I have to attack, and then they kill me anyway with the Orc army. So I don't think taking the damage here I can ever be punished for, so I should not make Orcish Bowmasters a live card. Okay. Yeah, I wish I played a little bit better with that land sequence. I was a little bit too focused on the wasteland so they can't daze, but they're not just going to daze a bolt in that spot. So I messed that up. I was lucky to get there. I have some solid cards here. My main concern is I still have 4 dazes in my deck, and the thing about that is it is a package with Wasteland that kind of in combination with each other handles Baragoyf, right? So I have to have it, but it's really not ideal. But this is because the format is so proactive deck centric. So if I don't need to play Price of Progress, for example, if I don't need to play 3 Consigns, then I have more room for, you know, live cards in the big brother mirror. But for now, I'm just accepting to have a bad Dimir matchup in exchange for being good against the field, right? That's the logic. As always, I'm excited to play some tournaments for you guys from time to time. I hope you guys appreciate it as well, because playing these tournaments while recording, it doesn't exactly you know, make me more likely to win the tournament, which is what I really want to do, right? So I hope you guys appreciate it, and I hope to still bring you some solid world-class Magic, but it is not easy, let me just put it that way. I like that I was able to kind of analyze the whole they thought seize the brainstorm to try and make their bowmasters good. That was a decent catch. Then I was lucky to flip with Ponder, but then I pondered into a new Delver, so I didn't really follow through on that read. You can argue. But then again, every time they don't have the bowmasters in that spot, I'm going to be very happy because I have a second thread online, right? So, yeah, lots of high-level plays. The double Wasteland was cool from the opponent. Hail Mary on the 2/2. And then I guess I just got lucky and drew some 1-drops there to finish it all off. Something that's important against Dimir is to understand that Pyroblast kills Tamiyo and Murktide, and Bolt kills Tamiyo and Bowmasters, right? So you have to think about how you use your removal spells. But when you draw 2 bolts, it's simple, right? So the opponent's playing scared with their mana. When I say scared, it's, you know, that might as well be a synonym for smart. But they're aware that building good mana is a win con. Here's a Wasteland, so the opponent is okay taking their chances here. So let me think about this. Chandler's the best card if it lives. But Chandler is a card that dies to Hydroblast, which is currently a card the opponent could have on. I actually want to go Delver, and I want to go Delver off of Volcanic Island. Using the logic of, if I draw land, I'm just happy in general, and if I don't, it's probably a spell. Of course, we play creatures, right, and baubles. And the biggest thing is, if the opponent gets to, like, Hydro Chandler on tap, use their mana, that's annoying, right? Both will die to Bowmaster. So I like blanking some interaction here if it's a close call. You can also argue that in a, you know, stale board or whatever, the Delver attacks harder, faster. You can also argue if the opponent is just on a fatal push draw, you would rather have your Delver die and then the Chandler for later. So different stuff, different stuff. Bowmasters would be backbreaking, to say the least, because we also have to clear it in order to even keep digging with Ponder. Let's see what the opponent's move is. Are they willing to get dazed if they have the Bowmaster? Should they just kill it with Fatal Push and move on with their day? What are we doing? This is always a tough matchup. Also, by the way, there were some cool flow state situations last game because they took the instant out of my hand. So I didn't have to play an instant to, you know, get to flow state. I just needed to cast a sorcery first. Okay, so here's the opponent with a setup turn, as I call it. This is not an exciting play at all, but it is a solid, like, keep the engine running while you're not under big pressure. This is a card that if I had a daze, I would not daze here. I simply don't care about a 2-mana flow state at that stage. I flip with Ponder, which is the card I should be casting. So if I hit a land here, I like my spot a decent amount. Here's land. 3 types in the yard, so can we do better about that? So if I play the Channeler, that card is very weak to Orcish Bowmasters. But if they don't have Bowmasters, and they just have a spot removal draw, I like it quite a bit. Alright. I am okay playing the Channeler, but it's not a trivial play. Also, note that I'm very bad against Baragoyf here, but the power of the, you know, the invisible daze is there, so unless the opponent is super desperate, they're not just going to slam Baragoyf. The thing is, the second creature could make them super desperate, so this plan is not perfect. If they just slam Baragoyf, I'm in big trouble. Then I need to, let's see, ponder into Delirium and the one of Heat. Very hard. So it looks like Orcish Bowmasters is in fact the play, which is absolutely incredible for my opponent. I cannot stress that enough. What a good play that is. So currently I would have a 5/5 Murktide Regent. Land is not bad. Land is certainly not bad. So this allows me for I could Lightning Bolt play Merc. Let's get in for damage first and see if the opponent has something unexpected like Snuff Out, or they simply just, you know, push or take the damage. So we got in for the damage. We're still under the Bowmaster. Maybe my best play here is to go land, Murktide, pitching 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then saying I'm good against Force to Will and Brazen Borrower with my Pyroblast, or opposing Murktide, or opposing Flow State. I'm bad into Daze, though. Okay, the opponent's at 12, and I have 8 in the air. So that means they're 1 off. Like, let's say they jam Baragoyf, right? Then there's 1 off from losing. Should I have thought about that math before presenting a 5/5 plus the fetch? I have Bolt in hand. Yeah, I probably should have thought about that math. Let's see what this is from the opponent. Fatal Push on the Delver. That resolves. And now it's going to be exciting to see. Is this Kaito? Oh, they have Kaito. I mean, I get to eat the Bowmaster, I think. Yes. Yeah, it's not. This is not the end of the world. They will have to stun, and then I can decide how to kill it. How should I kill it? Probably with Bolt, I imagine. Should I get dazed this game? Oh, never mind, detect proof. So I'll just go for Surveil here. Okay, so we have a Murktide in the bank there. Land is not interesting at this point. I think I just need some spells to unload. Another Merc. Oh boy. Oh boy. What's the dream? The dream is I get forced here. Let's try and get rid of the Kaito. That worked. I have a feeling I should ponder. If I Merc here, I have a 6/6 and a 4/4. Oh, boy. So that means Thoughtseize is on, but I'm handling stuff like Flow State on this stack. Brazen Burrower, like the bounce. I'm mainly trying to ask myself, will I just get dazed later if I wait? I think this line is asking the inevitable question to my opponent. And if I get dazed, yeah, it is what it is. Let's see. What I'm seeing is I'm going to get dazed on a later turn in this game. Because next turn, if I have to, like, yeah, this is annoying. Like, let's imagine I ponder and I pass with 1 mana. I try and Pyroblast this card, I get dazed. Then you can argue the Murktide is better later. So that would have been better if I actually believed my opponent had the daze. And now yeah, I don't know. Now I'm just rooting for my opponent to play a bigger Murktide, essentially. That's what I'm rooting for. Getting Thoughtseized here. So I guess if the opponent takes Ponder, they have Baragoyf. If they take Pyroblast, they have Murktide. Okay, so they have Murktide Regent. That tells me a lot about what to do next turn. And then again, passing and getting Thoughtseize, losing the Murktide, like, there's just a lot of bad situations. This is great for me, however, because I don't think they have a second daze. If they have second daze, it's certainly not something they took on the flow state. Oh man, I get to... Do I believe... No, I don't believe in that daze. I believe in... Oh, I got confused here. So if I stack... Let's see. If I take the Channeler, then cast Flow State, then deploy the Channeler, is that better? Or should I just take the land right away so that I can pay for it? That's probably better. So what if the Flow State gets countered? Then it's better for me to have the fetch, I guess. Okay. So play land, play Flow State, take Channeler, take Flow State. Oh, shoot. I should have counted my Volcanics, but I didn't. Oh, boy. Ah, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. We messed that up. That was unfortunate. Sheesh. Let's see the punish. So if I know what I'm doing there, I crack my fetch for Island to then cast Flow State. Yes, that I don't have Channeler on top of my deck, but then I know that I have red mana to find it. Oh, shoot. Yeah, that's something I oftentimes look here and would have found 2 Volcanics, but this time I was not strong enough. So this has no targets. Very important to think about. So if I play Channeler Flow State, I should probably do that. Channeler Flow State. Oh, wow, what a game. I like the Delver here a decent amount. So I should take Delver and Ponder. Should I play this land out? I guess if my opponent's not keeping track of my deck, that is a solid play. Here's Delver of Secrets. Here's a pass. I feel like my opponent... But I'm still losing to the Barragoyfs and the Murktides of the world. So I'm just waiting for my opponent to get there, basically. Okay, now Spellbomb is a cool one, especially because they know about the Merc. Oh man, I wish I didn't mess up that turn. That could easily cost me. Not keeping track of already losing 2 Volcanics. I guess what threw me off was the fact that 1 only got wasted, but I surveilled 1. That's probably it, because usually I'll remember, like, if I'm getting wasted multiple times, etc. So that's probably what made it harder. Here's Barragoyf, and I won't have 1 answer in my deck to that card, as long as it's a 7/7. Let's see what the Delver can do here. The Delver can do good things, so I get to see a lot of magic cards. Lots of magic cards. I think Ponder is slightly better for setting up Delirium. So what's my plan here? My plan is to hopefully cast cantrips and find the bounce spell. And if nothing, end up with a Merc. So I guess if I find double bolt is lethal as well, that would be the last 2 remaining bolts. Kind of funny. Let's see how the rebuild of the graveyard is going to go for me here. The opponent, very particular. Oh. What is this? Just fatal pushing, I guess, before I find the next thing? That's a great play by the opponent. Because this allows me, well, oh, killing that card in response. That's also good. Okay. So I think I should put this to the graveyard. I have a feeling mana could be a little bit tight this turn. So what happens if I go... I think I'm going to be one short. Let's see. Brainstorm hits the bin. Basically, I need to make a 7/7 Murktide Regent this turn. Can I do something smart with my own days here? Because I have not made a land drop. So what happens if I go like this? Oh man, the priority thing on Magic Online. It always gets me. I will now cast Brainstorm. The priority works. Okay, that's good. So, resolve. There's the first bolt. Not bad, not bad. So let's see. Attack to 6. Play Merc. Trade. I might not need this bolt right now. So I think what I'm supposed to do now is put back those two. Let's see how this works out for me. And now it's priority time. So I need to cast Preordain. And I need to daze it. And I need to not pay, which is a little bit scary. Could I have played better here? Maybe not. Maybe not. Land. Merc. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, man, I miscounted. I didn't need to daze my own spell there. I was not counting the ponder on the stack, I think. Oh boy. Magic's so hard. Okay. The opponent got us covered here. Oh man, Magic was too hard. So a good player will not daze their own spell. They will play slightly better here and then just deploy a 7/7 so that these guys can trade, unless of course the opponent draws that card. And then we have me, who will have to say good games and good luck in the rest to the opponent. All right, that was a sweet round one. A little bit too much stuff for me to handle properly here, and yeah, too strong of draws out of the opponent. So that combination is not ideal. All right, let's. Oh crap! Oh man, one of these days I will be awake when I'm recording. All right, we are not dead. We are not dead. Okay, that game was insane. I felt like the opponent had so many good exchanges, from Bowmasters to Kaito to casting flow states. I thought it was over. Good luck in game 3. All right. Yeah, the opponent just had us covered there. That was nasty. I like how I played for the most part. If I play a 7/7 Murktide there in the end, I'm very proud about the game. But I played an 8/8 into a 6/7 for no reason. Of course, the opponent drawing Kaito is insane. So that's pretty good for me to know about, that my opponent is on double Kaito, many flow states, so they're probably not on Nethergoyf. So I think that in all is a good, I mean, better than the alternative, basically. But still very, very tough. Yes. All right, no threat here, but we get to handle whatever the opponent does early. We get to play the game. We're hoping for a play pattern of sorcery turn 1 in the yard, interact with an instant, and then have a good flow state early. Yeah, I'll take the land. I don't think second wasteland is good here. That's going to be too much speculation. What am I dreaming of here? I'm dreaming of my opponent going dual Tameo. Okay. This is good for me. Good, good opening of the game here. So now, is there ever a world my opponent will daze back the land? I'm not sure about it. I don't want to give my opponent that chance, though. So now I have to think about bolt. Yeah. I think I should bolt here, but it's close. Flow state complicates things because that's more target for Pyroblast. Daze kind of has Bowmaster covered. Let's see. This is all about finding a thread. If I don't find a thread, you know, the opponent will have inevitability on me. So while this opening is very good for me, I still have a lot of work to do. Another duel. And here's a ponder. So that's good. So I'll be casting a flow state for profit already on turn 3 here. But it kind of feels like turn 2, right? Because of Wasteland. Here's a Delver that oh man. A Delver that I'm playing offbeat, but if I can trade my opponent's turn, like dazing a Bowmaster, I like that, and I need the pressure. So let's deploy Delver, and then hope to daze a Bowmaster, and we kind of end up in the same spot, but we're casting Flow State with a creature in play instead of Flow State on an empty board. If my opponent pushes me here, it's a slight punish, I would say. Okay, the opponent goes Tameo. I'm not too scared about that card. I think that card is very beatable when you're attacking your opponent's life total. So here I am going to fetch Travail end of turn because I really value flipping the Delver. And Scalding Tarn is not going to do it. So now the opponent can think about push and snuff out and what have you, but I think it's a good move in general to see what the opponent, whether the opponent flips or not. Wasteland is good. Wasteland is a good draw. I'm not gonna pretend it's not. How do I play this? In theory, I could chill. If I Pyroblast the Tameo, yeah, I think I probably have to. Okay, let's try it. Pyroblast the Tameo. The opponent could, in theory, Hydroblast me, in which case I would daze. They don't. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I should try and keep my opponent down here. So let's get in for the damage. Now, what's the timing on the Wasteland here? If I do it now, what happens if the opponent fatal pushes me in response? Then they can have days to save their land. So is that the same if I pass and I allow them to Bowmaster on the upkeep? Yeah, I think that is the same. Okay, so I'm just going to do it now. If I get pushed here, that's very good timing for the opponent. And if they're good enough to make that play, I'm not going to daze the push, which is super iffy. So probably Surveil. And who knows? I don't really have any clues that their mana is bad. I guess it is somewhat of a clue that the opponent... No, maybe they just had it like C, Meyer, then randomly drew the delta afterwards. It's basically just to say that if they could have gone for basics... Yeah, this is a weak move. Okay, Flow State with Sorcery in the graveyard. So I'm going to accept this card. This is a little bit weak, because now I know what to look for with my Flow State. Like, I basically know that Wasteland is good, because this land drop is super weak, the basic land. I probably need to flip the Delver now to really take advantage. Let's see if we can do it here. We cannot do it. I'm comfortable casting Flow State here before my land drop because I have 2 Wastelands in my deck that I think are insane. These cards are pretty strong. No Delirium though. Is that something I should be thinking about? I mean, random draw or heat. Random draw or heat. This could be a random draw situation. Or even helping flip the Delver, I guess. Random draw or heat. I'm gonna go for the random draw here because I don't have Delirium, which is a little bit annoying. Maybe I should just do it now because of Bowmasters. I want to incentivize upkeep Bowmasters so my days works. Prismarred Charm, I will draw over a random card. That card is solid. This game is... yeah, it's getting iffy because this Delver is not flipped right. There's a huge difference between 16 and whatever, 10, 12. So here's the upkeep that I'm hoping my opponent will pounce on. They don't. And now I don't care about Bowmasters. So let's think. The whatever it's called is on the bottom of the deck. Okay, they have to pass here. That's not good for them. So no mana on the side of the opponent. I feel like this is my time to pounce. Go on deck. You can do it. You could in fact do it with a flow state. So this will probably warrant the fatal push. And then I'm playing Protect the Queen. Let's have a think about this. Am I willing to get flow state dazed? Maybe we can postpone that decision and go flow state first because Wasteland is such a beating for the opponent. Brainstorm and land. Yes. Not terrible, of course. I feel like I should play... Should I just cast Brainstorm here? Am I ever getting dazed there? This looks like a game where I can make daze a non-factor if I just chill, but I also have to get over the finish line. This is pretty scary stuff. How big upside is there to brainstorming now? Pretty big upside, I would say, because I have 1-drops in my deck. Okay, I'm willing to get dazed here, but the tiebreaker of my opponent's land is on the City Sewers. It works. So I can put back Basic Island and Fetch Land easily here. And then I can go Chandler that actually works this time, which is which is a big advantage. Chandler. I now have Daze for the potential Baragoyf jam. If I get dazed back, I still have Prismara Charm and a big Murktide. So let's see. This is all about if the opponent can unload their hand or not. If they can, you know, we're in trouble. If they cannot, we can close out this game. Prismara Charm, pretty good insurance against a lot of the opponent's on-board counterplay. And then, of course, less good against getting, you know, facing removal spells, etc. Also note that this Chandler might turn on the opponent Hydro in the deck. I'll daze just about anything that I am able to daze at this point. So if the opponent has a turn of like push to Chandler, cast Ponder, I think I'm still gonna do it. They're gonna do it in the other order. So Thoughtseize is annoying. The opponent keeps the cards. There's a land. Let's see what they have. Here's the Hydro we discussed. And no play for the black mana. Okay. Mishra's Bauble. Okay, so I guess let's see what they stacked on top. They stacked a Snuff Out. Well, the thing is, I don't think my opponent gives me any choice here but to play out the Murktide. If they have to pay 4 life for a Snuff Out, I guess we take it. Instant Sorcery. Sorcery. Am I supposed to hedge here because it's going to die anyway? I probably am, huh? So let's see. We can go Instant Sorcery and some lands. Pass the turn. I'll draw a random card. No Bowmaster from the opponent. The second days, those two together could do something at some point. Snuff Out kills Merc. And here's good old Flow State. Unfortunately, very, very strong. Let me double daze it. The thing is, I'm kind of losing to my opponents. Just the fact that they're going to have Barragoyf in their hand at this point so often. Double dazing here. Am I Prismari Charming? Yeah, maybe I'm that desperate. Lightning Bolt. I don't think that's going to do it, unfortunately. Brainstorm is awesome. Into the next days. This is good. So this is double creature. And then I can flip with a bolt and have this card underneath, I guess. So do I think I'm dazing next turn? That's probably the question I should be asking myself here. Am I dazing next turn? Because if I am, I want to mill the land. Tough call. Let's play like this. Channeler. Delver. Pass. So if my opponent just slams Barragoyf here, I am golden. But if they have the 4th land, I'm back to relying on Murktide to stay alive. Tough one. I'm hoping to now bring the Sons of Urgency. Also, I think I daze checked my opponent numerous times here. Oh, they drew the land. Yep. Ooh, they don't have it. They actually don't have it. That's crazy. Okay. They didn't have the Barragoyf. Oh, and here comes the juiciest days. And I get to play Merc, and they have 1 card left. Yeah, this is gonna be a rough one for the opponent. Let's see if their last card is magically no, they just drew Wasteland. The last card is not magically daze. Let's think about this card. This card is good enough. The opponent got dazed here. I'm not sure they're supposed to, though. Instant. Instant. Sounds good. Here's an 8/8. Here's an attack to 9. My top card is bad, so I have to think about what to do right now. I think my opponent's last card is Kaito. So they can hardcast that card if they want. I think I'm just going to let my opponent draw. But time is getting to me here. Yeah, as you as you saw, I thought the previous one was the game. Tameo is fine. So I think we blow our opponent out now because their last card is Kaito. And they play this. No, last card's not Kaito. Cancel that. Since their only blocker is Tamiyo, I'm going to bolt that card, because currently that is preventing 8 damage. And I don't think they have the daze. I don't know what their last card is, but it's not a daze with the way this game is played out. Because they drew the Wasteland, drew the Tamiyo, and I daze checked them a few times. So what I could do here... Okay, so I lost a fan. I lost a fan here. So basically, if I think my last card could be Daze, I should upkeep this spell, right? Because I want to clear the Tamiyo, and with the Surveil, and my top card is bad, right? And I want to get rid of it so that I can attack for lethal. So, oh man. Yeah, that was not good. I'll try and keep track of playing a best of 3. It shouldn't really be that hard, right? But so many hard spots here. Results-wise, we're off to a good start, but I need to play better in this challenge, that's for sure. All right, round 2. What a messy round 1. It's too funny. On the draw against Yorion here, that's a cause for concern. Let me put it that way. Also, I left home without sweepers today, so no cheeky rough tumbles. Maybe that's fine. Turn 1 Thoughtseize, that's a good play. Any exchange you make with that deck is good, because you end up grinding it out later. So let's imagine they take the flow state off of my hand, so I don't have card advantage. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I already am faced with a tough decision. The thing is, if they have Orcish Bowmasters for this Delver, I'm getting cooked. So let's assume they don't and play Delver and slow roll Bauble. Sometimes when you think about Magic in a vacuum and you're like, oh, I need to get off this Bauble before they find 2 mana. But now you have to ask yourself, well, if they actually have that Bowmaster, how do you like your chances? So in this game, I just make my opponent have it, so to speak, and then try and flip the Delver. Okay, so we get plowed there. That's not the end of the world. They draw another land. That's not the end of the world either. Cycle the Bauble. Let's see what we can get to. Land, terrible. Delver, solid. Delver of Secrets. Let's try and find a Brainstorm. I don't believe in this card, but I do believe in having instant and sorcery into the bin for potential low stage shenanigans. Oh, my opponent, I see the Marsh Flats, but they cracked the Arid Mesa, so we have free info about Marsh Flats in the opponent's hand. Recruiter of the Guard. The opponent's jamming that card after I milled a Daze, but I guess they had almost perfect info from the Thoughtseize. Well, they had half of info. So they could read this as you have another Daze, so they could read this as, you know, exactly what they did and say, hey, I actually think you give me enough credit and you don't believe in Daze in this matchup. So well played by the opponent, no doubt. Being too cautious is not exactly... Yeah, there's the Daze. Nice. Yeah, now this game is complicated. Shoot. All I can do is try and attack my opponent dead in the air. My opponent knows about Wasteland and Daze, but they don't know about this Murk. This is why they applied the Delver early. They don't know about the Murk. We cannot let them go to Yorion land. If they just start another Thoughtseize, that's incredible. Yep, you got it, buddy. And that was a good draw because now Lightning Bolt is not a live card against Stoneforge. Or Murktide's dead. Like, they're going to know about it, right? I think I just found a play I should have made. I should have developed the Wasteland instead of Volcanic and see if my opponent was getting lazy here. But that's kind of impossible to foresee because it also takes them casting a 1-drop first, so I'm not going to lose sleep over that. Rewar Formal Wear, which, to be fair, does quote-unquote nothing. So if I can fly my opponent in the air, I'm good. I don't think casting the bolt in the turn makes much sense. I mean, in theory, it lets me draw flow state into double bolt and win. Is that a... Let me say it this way. Am I ever winning a game where lightning bolt is targeting my opponent's creatures? Maybe that should be my question. And I think the answer to that question is no. So while the nut draw that I just described is not, you know, super likely, it's still it's not nothing, right? Force of Will is probably terrible, but we could see a situation where the opponent takes 3, go to 6, spend a turn putting Yorion to hand. You go to 3, I force the Yorion and I kill them, right? So I'm very sad that if my opponent... Oh, never mind. They're saving their life points here. I was about to say, if they surveil a good permanent into the yard, the Formal Wear has a ton of utility. Orcish Bowmasters. That's not a card that does anything, right? Like, to my plan. I think it does straight up nothing to my plan. Oh, man. I see. Okay, okay. Crap. That is... You probably should attack first and all of that, but I really like this play. That is cool. So now you get to Formal Wear back the Recruiter. That is a cool play. That is a cool play that I should have considered. Now, this probably just means that I'm going to be Force of Willing a Pitch Solitude, which in theory gives me more cards, but I wish I saw it. That's basically just... I wish I saw it ahead of time. All right. Formal Wear back the Recruiter, which goes and fetches... Like, if they fetch Solitude here and I get to daze it... No, they know about the daze. Oh. Oh, boy. Very cool play by the opponent. Don't Solitude me now, bro. You know about the daze. Oh, never mind. Okay. So, the opponent's at 5. And this Force of Will looks pretty darn juicy. I guess drawing another Delver is not bad, because that could give me security. Let's attack them to 2. I can Force of Will to Solitude. Oh, man. That's funny. So what do they need to draw here? I think they need to... Nope, that doesn't work. I think they need to draw another good play, but that needs to be like Plow, because it has to be cheap, so they can Plow, put Yorion to hand, and do it again. Like with the Solitude. They actually drew a good play. Very cool. So I have to let this... Wait a minute. Yes, I have to let this resolve, because now flipping the Delver is lethal. So they can turn their Volcanic into up to 1, so they don't do it. Okay. So wait a minute. Did I just botch this game? Was I supposed to not play this Delver? No, I don't think so. Well, they're not the best ever, right? Because if I predict this card, I'm going to daze that. And then I can force the Yorion. Yeah, I don't think that's realistic. Okay, the opponent's sending the clowns here. I forgot about that for a moment, but I don't think their damage is going to matter this game. So if I flip the Delver, the game's over. If I don't, this... I think I have another stab at it next turn. Unless my opponent is super lucky. Delver flip with Brainstorm. Ooh, sheesh. We got away with it here. That's crazy. Crazy game. We had to get very lucky. We needed all the help we could get from Double Thoughtseize and the fetching. Okay, we took down game 1 against Death and Taxes. I have very few good cards against them. But Consigned Memory and Unholy Heat are fine. Force of Will. I simply don't believe Force of Will, which maybe I need a mix of Force of Will and Daze. In theory, drawing the first Daze is solid against non-Vile draws. And then in a later game, you can find a Force Your Solitude, kill you with Murktide Line. And I guess a card like Flow State in theory lets me play on that axis with my opponent, but it's really not impressive. What is better, Daze or Force? Daze is better early, Force is better late. We can go with the mix here. I don't think that's crazy. Then what about on the play? I'd probably go like 3-1 in the favor of Daze. Probably. The opponent was very good at fetching basics as well, but my sideboard just doesn't allow for... I didn't focus on fair decks. That's just the truth of it all. And these two first matchups, probably the worst ones in the book, I would imagine. Yeah. This hand is a keep, of course, because of, you know, double brainstorm and we're trying to convert. But yeah, not ideal. Okay, no Vile. That's a good, let's say, first thing that happened. Oh man, this sucks. Okay. So let's see if I can draw a good card. I would call that a good card. So now land pass. And then do I just fire a brainstorm into the abyss? I don't think so, because I really need this brainstorm to like exchange some lands. So let's say my hand was good, right? Then I would brainstorm on my opponent's upkeep after drawing the flow state. But now I don't think I can worry about Bowmaster. Does that make sense? Like I need this brainstorm to become Ancestral Recall, basically. Stoneforge Mystic. That card is gonna find Formal Wear, which doesn't necessarily do anything. It's just a creature. I think this is fine. I think I'm supposed to play against this. Maybe now I have to fire the brainstorm because it's so important for me to find, like, Meteor Sword. So I guess my opponent has natural drawn. Meteor Sword. That's scary. I guess my opponent has natural drawn. What's it called? That brings it back. That is a little bit scary. I do have a deck full of Consign, etc. Okay, I'm actually going to change plans a little bit and go Thundering Falls here. Funnily enough, this card is not going to do it because I already have my cantrips set up. And putting a sorcery into the yard without paying for it is actually surprisingly solid. Yeah, this is terrible. So this double wasteland, I probably have to rely on. Oh boy. I don't really care about Meteor Sword onto a land. This is horrible. So how do I win this game? I win this game if my opponent misevaluates, like, the land situation. But I think I need to wasteland my opponent to also... So I basically have to leave some doors open, right? I need to either get lucky on my opponent's side of the table, mana-wise, or that they misevaluate. Okay. So now, am I hiding a card from Thoughtseize? And what would that be? I guess Flow State is the best card here. So I should put back my worst card. Huh. Am I wastelanding? If I'm wastelanding next turn, chances are I'm not, though. This is tough. Put those back, fight for my opponent's mana, and hope for the best. We're just on the back foot here with a bad draw, right? So we have to apply that sense of urgency and desperation into our play. So this is not a good play, but it's the necessary play to have a fighting chance against what's going on. So realistically now, the opponent's debating whether they should attack my mana or whether they should develop their own mana. But Meteor Sword kind of does both, right? Then they can play normal land, Meteor Sword my land. Yeah, Wasteland also makes sense. Okay. So in this spot, I will bolt the Stoneforge. It's actually a solid spot to do it. So if I predicted this, I probably should have had flow state. No, I'm good, because I'm fetching away the bad land now. Okay. Okay, so our play actually makes a little bit of sense. That's a new one. So funnily enough, because of the card Erode being in Legacy, I'll have to do this on my opponent's upkeep, which is just a cool situation. Because imagine I do it on my turn, then they erode and ramp their mana. And they untap the land. So if they do it now, at least the land enters tapped. So just a tiny thing. Old modern play pattern. Ooh, another duel has entered the building. This card is fine, right? It just turns my land into an island. It's not the end of the world, but it is a reason to keep your basic island in the deck, because otherwise it's actually quite insane. I will be trying to reach a state where my opponent's mana doesn't work. Am I willing to brainstorm now, or am I just delaying it and I'm flow stating next turn? The thing is, if I have Murktide Region on top of my deck, I just want to play it and protect it. So let's do it now before Bowmasters becomes a must force. Oh boy. What's my best magic card right now? I feel like the Channeler is going to die so often that I have to value the flow state. So this is bad against another Orchid, which is funny. Maybe I should hedge against that if I get... No, let's see. May search, and they can't target that either. Never mind. But a good thought to have. Yeah, we're a little... The thing is, we're behind on tempo, and we're land heavy. Like, it's a terrible combination. This smells a lot of Bowmasters if they just pass here. I guess Failure is a magic card as well. Yeah, Failure is a magic card. And unfortunately, it's a magic card that beats me. What's my top card? It's a land, I think. All right. I will cast Flow State and hope I'm facing Orcish Bowmasters and not the Failure card. And I have 2 Dazes in my deck, so there's that. If the opponent's smart here, yep, nice play. Love to see it. I always love to see a good play. And this is certainly it. Develop the Failure here, and that's all she wrote. Or, well, it's a card I have to force a will. So well played. Imagine I see Daze now. That's the whole point about the opponent's play. Love to see it. Let's flow and lightning bolt. Now we're entering the phase where the opponent's third land is just the form aware that they all but confirmed that they have in hand when they went for the 7-drop. But it looks like they don't have it. I mean, I guess they could be very meticulous about how they play. Okay, so we kind of dodged that. Interesting. Another Channeler. So that looks great in theory. But I think those are just getting plowed. I think this is how the big boys play Magic these days. Cast Flow State. Find exactly some of these clowns. Now, I want the Daze, because the moment they find the third land, they're going to be jamming something impactful. And then what? Just a Channeler, I guess. Daze, Channeler. Land, Channeler, which will get plowed, and we're not going to do anything about that. That's magic. Also, if they had second Failure, they would have responded to the flow state. They already showed that play pattern. So that's why I'm not expecting it. I'm expecting this to get plowed. Social Plash it is, and now we're in a spot where if they don't find third land, we're loving life, and if they do, at least we get to Daze the first move, right? And then we have a couple of threats here. Hopefully the opponent doesn't have 3 plows. Let's see what we can do in a game like this. I really like how we navigated under terrible circumstances. The opponent bricks again. That's huge for us. Can we draw a good live card here? I certainly don't mind Bauble. Let's have a think about this. Am I supposed to fetch Volcanic Island out of my deck so that I don't hit it? Probably, yes. Here's Channeler. Oh man, I accidentally changed phases. That's not smart. That's the last land. Here's another Channeler. I feel like I can try and get there with those clowns. But even though it's delayed, I still think it's solid. Let's see what you're drawing. Are you finding the land, buddy? You're finding the land now. And then I'll daze your play, attack you for 6, and then look deeper towards a new relevant card, because I am getting the delayed cantrip here. Yeah, this has all the, what do you call it? This has all the, we might get away with murder here. I'm smelling blood here. Okay, the opponent establishes good mana, hoping for the 3-drop. Really, really hoping for the 3-drop. Please slam a 3-drop, opponent. Recruiter. The equipment that I predicted. Please slam those. If the opponent has a sneaky, like, I don't even know what that is because they didn't plow me end of turn. If they have a sneaky cheap spell here, like Stone Forge or something, that would be their best play. They should be feeling the pressure here. That is exactly what's going on. So that card, yeah, that's not going to happen. Let's daze the card and look deeper for, you know, Murktide, Bolt, what have you. This card, amazing. Okay, we're doing good work here. Yes. So we don't care about a 2/2 flyer here unless they can exile a graveyard, right? So they didn't solitude us yet. Now we're getting in for 6. Yeah, this is dangerous for the opponent. So a card I just think I've thought about now, oh man, is Wrath of the Skies. Would they bring that in? These, oh boy, I wish I thought about that card earlier, because this could cook me now. Let's play land first and flow state. And I wish I thought about that card. Wrath, good old Wrath of the Skies. Oh man, now I'm gonna be hedging because of that. Yeah, okay. Let's see if I overreact to that card. I mean, the thing is, I just want to find, like, Force Blue card, Daze, Murktide. I'm gonna get rid of those cards. Force Blue card it is. Okay. We are officially cooking. Force Blue card. Now I'm comfortable slamming the Channeler. Oh, I'm so happy I thought about... Because I would have kept those creatures and just slammed infinite monsters here. But I could have lost to Wrath of the Skies. I guess I don't have that card, huh? Overlord of the Baelmer. I know that my opponent is dead. So I should not care about that card. Like, I know they're dead if I get to attack and bolt my opponent. So I should let them bring back something here. Here's the confirmation, by the way, of Wrath of the Skies being in the deck. They didn't have the card, obviously, because then they're cold here. So what did they take? They took back Failure. Oh, they're really banking on... They're really banking on this situation. I feel like I should Lightning Bolt their base end of turn. Let's count the flow states. 1, 2, 3. 3 flow states, though. Maybe I don't need to. Well, it fixes my draw. That's the thing. Okay, let's Lightning Bolt end of turn. Big for, yeah, that's good enough, I feel like. The thing is, getting rid of it is almost like, yeah, maybe that's just better. Because we're looking so deep here. Maybe we keep the last one. Yeah, let's keep the last one. They're at 8. If I can clear the White Orchid Phantom, I win this game. Because they did not return, didn't have Solitude, basically. So what's the reason to do it now? It is, I guess, exactly the charm. The charm bounces the Orchid. Yeah, okay. Is that too much to give up? Two bolts left. I'm going to attack my opponent down to 2. Then what is the dog going to do? Am I forcing the... I guess if I play this and I force the dog, am I then covered? I can then get Wrathed. But they don't have it because they would have played it. Okay, I'm going to keep the Murktide Regent. I still might find the Bolt, right? But I'm going to keep the Murktide. Ponder. And these cards are insane. Yes. Jump block. Go to 2. And now... Am I even countering the failure? How does my opponent win if I just stick my position here and I kind of consign the... like, if there's any dog shenanigans, I just consign it, and then I have force blue card on top. How does my opponent win from here? They win if they can clear my graveyard. But I don't think they can. I talked myself into changing plans here and passing. Let's see. Let's see. 2 life, 3 lethal flyers. This should not be possible, right, guys? Right, guys? Oh, man. This is... The mirror into Death and Taxes. Those are the ultimate tests. Come on now. Let me play against the Sneak and Shows and the Big Mana decks and the... the decks that I actually prepared for. This is really the true challenge. But we have our opponent on the ropes here. Here's Flicker Wisp. A card that I should force a will because it's like... It's a block card, clear stuff, etc., etc. Force a will. Pitch Murktide Regent. Mill 3 times. I will still be looking for the Bolt here. Oof. I'm really happy with how I played here, and Flow State just proved to be an insane tool, right? In the beginning of this game, I knew I had to get lucky on the Wastelands, and then once I did that, then all of a sudden, Daze was a good card, and I could kind of stitch it together here. So this is everything from understanding the sense of urgency, sideboarding in a certain way where I'm hedging between Force that it wins the game here and Daze that was super clutch early. Like, when you nail those small things, everything is possible. But yeah, this game took a lot, and yeah, at least I didn't mess up about who was winning and losing the match. So improvement. All right. See you for round 3. All right, guys, round 3 is here. I'm playing my trusted Izzet Delver deck, and yeah, this is a keep against any deck in the format. I'm sad to see the Surveil Lane being in hand. Sad to see a Naked Force, but we're hoping for a Lightning Bolt to be good and the Channelers to be unanswered, going for glory here. The cool thing about this... Oh, my... Multi-5, yeah. The thing is, you should be... Well, let me put it this way. If you're only excited about, like, the outcome, I should be in a vacuum happy about my opponent mulligan at 5, but it also leaves me a little bit scared because there are some decks in Legacy that can cook you good from 5 cards. And if I had a blue card for this force, I'd be a lot more happy in this spot. This is almost a mold of 5. I mean, the tap land is, of course, better than it. Like, material is good because Brainstorm exists, right? But bad stuff can happen. I don't have a great hand here. Let's see if this card is good. I'm putting an upkeep stop here for good measure. Probably don't need it, though, because I have a second Chandler. So if they go turn 1 random creature, I just go Chandler Bolt. So let's save that for another time. If my opponent is on, like, Oops all spells, I should upkeep Bolt to look for the blue card, but they're not. Okay. We're off to the races here. Let's see what they're on to. Scrubland. What is this, Mardu? Probably Mardu energy. Let's see about that. They're going to take the second Chandler here, and I'm going to be probably... Oh, they take the Bolt. Okay. Let's see what that means. There's Mar Charm. I mean, that is a blue magic card, right? So, Channeler, tap land. Yep, no thanks. Land number 4 is terrible. Let's see what this follow-up is. They cleared the Bolt because they're leaning on a creature, right? Okay, it is energy. Energy is actually a little bit rough with my setup here. No sweepers today. That's always the tough one. You play sweepers, you don't play energy. You play without sweepers, you face energy. All of that stuff. Yes, this card is fine. I wonder if they follow up with a Pride here. They do, huh? Ocelot Pride. I think I'm supposed to kill the Pride and the token here on upkeep. The opponent is going for some energy stuff here, which is good for them, of course. 1/1, surveil twice. Giving ourselves a pretty decent shot here. Oh, we're surveilling a million times, so I think I should put that into the yard. That is a great magic card, but with no sorcery. I think we should get closer to Delirium here. Yes. And then draw? Draw Ponder. Yeah, we should certainly try and get Delirium here. So what would that mean? That would be either milling a creature or milling a bauble. Daze. Let's try harder. Brainstorm. That is tempting, but I think I should try harder. And then I find these cards. No Delirium after plowing through all these cards is terrible for my win rate this game, because now they get to go Guide of Souls. Yeah. This is bad because I now can't attack, and if they resolve any creature, they now have a 3/4, so I will have to force will almost any creature from this spot, clear the 2 lands, and then draw something good from there to be in this game. And I'm fighting a mulligan to 5, so terrible, terrible run out here. Ponder is an amazing draw. Let's see if we can get back to our scheduled program. This card is good enough that I'm going to keep it. Let's look at the top 3. I should play like this, I feel like. Flow state, away the land, keep the second flow state, and then resolve this. Murktide region flow state. Yeah, no baubles in sight here is backbreaking. Also, the opponent was losing to Wasteland all this time. A lot of stuff compounding here. No Delirium in almost 30 cards, I guess, is just the biggest problem. Here's a Voice of Victory. So now the opponent is racing me firmly, and they get the guide out of bolt range, more importantly. I feel like I have to shoot for the stars here. What that means is I need to get to Delirium and deploy the Murktide. I cannot just do one of those. We get there, and I need the land. Now I need to count my lands. I don't want to do the same mistake as earlier. I need this card. I was about to say, the dream... No, there's a voice. Never mind. That's not the dream. I'm happy I double-checked that. So let's take the Delver. And now let's play Murktide Regent, which probably dies to Plow, which is unfortunate. So let's see. Sorcery, sorcery, instant, instant, instant. Yeah, it just took too long here to get to Delirium. So if I get to Delirium 2 turns ago, my opponent's at whatever, 5 or whatever, stuff like that, right? And then we have an actual game, but now we're just getting cooked. Very impressive. The opponent mulliganed to 5 and pretty handily beat us here. All the while losing to Wasteland on the spot. I mean, all you can do is like play your cards out, right? And then hope it's enough. And it certainly was for the opponent this time around. Murktide is a good card here. Is it too late? The second Murktide here, is that too late? So let's understand what an Alpha Strike from the opponent will mean. That is a lot of damage. Am I still in this game? What happens if I flow state into Wasteland? My opponent never plays a new spell. Murktide eats a creature every turn. Does that stabilize while I attack with this clown? Will it help if I Delver? I think the fact that Wasteland is so good makes this worth it. It's a lot of looks at Wasteland. Not going to accept the Delver. Okay, so Wasteland Channeler. What am I wasting here? I'm not So the thing is, do I care about my opponent drawing the card Thoughtseize? They don't have any 1-mana red spells, but they do have 1-mana black spells. I guess I should take them off black here. Okay, we're still gaming. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I leave Bolt Flow State in the graveyard, and I make as big Murktide as possible. Must attack. Now I need the Time Walk turn. My opponent cannot have that card they're about to play. Okay. So now they could turn the Raptor into a big creature and kind of really diversify here. The thing is, if they stay back now, the guide eats the Channeler, something I thought about 3 turns ago, but I didn't think about it now. Yeah, I'm in trouble here. I'm in big, big trouble. So because they developed the creature first main, my opponent can actually get to a guide activation here. Oh boy. This was a tough game. Really like how I played. I think I just got cooked, but I might have to look that over. But let's see what they put counters on. They put counter on the Raptor, so they are doing exactly the go wide thing that I was a little bit scared of. I think I need to block the voice because that's 7, that's 9, then I'm at 5. Because blocking the voice is... Let me count the permanents here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. The thing is, the voice is the most power, and I'm not planning on my opponent to play more creatures, basically. So this is just a 3/4 flyer. This is a 3/5 flyer. 4/3 first strike. Man, that's tough as well. Okay. Let's block there. The opponent gets a 1/1, and I have to survive here. What's the draw spell? Draw step. The draw step is Delver of Secrets. So let's see. They did get one energy there that I didn't account for. So what happens if my opponent cannot play any spell? Then I have Channeler blocking this guy. I have Delver, blocking these two. Then I take 3 damage, go to 2. Yeah, I think I'm in attack mode, and I hope my opponent cannot cast anything. So if my opponent plays a creature, I'm cooked. But if they don't, I think I snipe the... Well, then they have to play defense, I guess. All right. Let's see if I got this math right. I think if they draw land, they win the game, because it's a 2-drop stuck in hand almost every time. Now they have 2 flyers. So if they play defense, flipping the Delver wins the game. Pretty sick game. What a cool display from my opponent's deck. Mulliganing to 5 and just playing from 2 lands forever. Keep having the good stuff. Tons of plows, tons of creatures. I'm fighting for Delirium for my life here, and then we ended up in a super tight game here. Because let's imagine I just hit Delirium early. I just crushed my opponent, right? That's not fun. Let's imagine my opponent just has the second land here, a couple of, like when I wasteland it, they just crush me. That's not fun either. Like, I want this showdown here. So let's see. Let's see if I got this right. I'm losing to most things, but my opponent is losing to a random Delver flip if I get the turn. So what would happen there? These two, yeah, one needs to chump, one eats a channeler. So this is a weird game where these guys being must attackers could cook me big time. Because if I don't flip the Delvers, I think I'm just losing. This could come down to like similar to a Mana Crypt flip. So I play the Delvers to not die on their attack. And then I'm at the mercy of the Delver flips. Funny. That is a fun one. They can remove the Channeler. They attack for lethal in the air. The game's over. The opponent's thinking about it here. It is also a pretty hard situation. Not gonna lie. The Channeler's being must attack here looks terrible. I guess the only good news is that... So what would they do? Which one chum blocks? I mean, I guess the Amped Raptor chum blocks, and this guy finishes off that one. They go to 2. Then they untap with Guide of Souls, another jab at the land, I think. Yeah, I wonder if this game can even go another turn cycle. That would be cool. Okay, they had the land. Just thinking about the implications. Wonder if they play 1 creature. Maybe that still messes it up a little bit. Because 1 creature, they're at 1 energy. That is 1 creature. So maybe they just need my Delvers not to flip. And that's what the game boils down to. 1 more life. And there's a wasteland. Maybe I'm dead now. I'm pretty sure I am. Because these are must attack and they get eaten. Chum block. Yeah, I think I'm losing in the air now. All right. That was not good. I feel like that was my game to win here in the match. The match is very, very hard, and yeah, I think I needed that one. Single consign here for various situations. Not a great card, but better than Force of Will. And then back to the grind here. I'll have to watch this back. I feel like I did. I milled so aggressively with Channeler. I was not settling for solid cards. I was just digging for the Delirium. I knew what the game came down to, that I was looking for Wasteland. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. That was a great game. The opponent played well, and I think I knew what was happening. Yeah, this matchup is tough. My logic is, when I'm building my deck here, I think energy is a bad choice for the tournament, so I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna worry too much about it in sideboarding. So if you're facing, the sneak attacks of the world and the big mana decks of the world and the oops all spells of, I just want Forcible in my deck. So my deck is it's basically assuming that people have similar thought processes, which is flawed, of course. Because the Dimir matchup, I was focusing on all other decks, right? Or most other, I guess I should say. The Death and Taxes matchup is like you queue into the passionate guys playing the 1% deck from time to time. But yeah, the energy one is a tough one because it has a substantial metagame share. So this is just me saying, hey, energy is not a responsible choice in a world of, people casting One Ring and cheating in Atraxa. And then, you face it and you're bad against it. That's how Magic goes. Cannot have everything in Magic. Like you need to make a lot of choices. So this is a little bit of a scary hand because it can get run over, and the mana's weak. Leyline of the Void. Okay. Bringing in Leyline here is interesting. Let's see if we can punish that. The Delver is a pretty solid anti-Leyline card. So I have Prismari Charm and Delvers in my deck, basically, that works now. I don't play Cutter, so I'm actually weak to, like, solid hands with Leyline. Let me put it that way. If they mulligan too much, I'm not that worried. Okay. Let's Surveil. I like the land a lot, and then I can go... The thing is, Orcish Bowmaster is a devilish magic card. So I should probably Brainstorm now and then Delver. I do have a lot of bad ones. Yeah, Chandler's terrible. So I can get rid of... Yeah, Chandler's really bad. I guess it fixes my draw, but that's not exciting. Let's put back those two and deploy a Delver. Now, of course, I don't have the fixed or I don't have the guaranteed flip, but I think that's okay. Let's see what the opponent's play is, because sometimes they'll have a great hand, like a good 6, right? And then just a Leyline sprinkled in, and sometimes they keep the hand on the back of Leyline. So let's see how that goes. Very tough. Very tough here. I feel like I should have been up a game here. Not like, oh, I deserved it or whatever, but it's like the feeling if I'm winning the match, I need that game. I think kind of like against the Death and Taxes deck, similar thing, or even the Dimir. It's funny, I played against some decks I don't want to face. Let's see what this is, if this is a weakness. This mana base looks super weak. Let's see if they want to introduce Daze to the equation. They don't want to introduce Daze to the equation. And now they want to fight for mana. Okay. I can live with that. I'm not going to play around the second... what's it called? The second Wasteland here. I think the sense of urgency is simply too high. I need to play this card. I need to upkeep flip it. And I need to get lucky here. I guess if I Daze a 2-drop, that's not possible. But yeah, let's see. Goblin Bombardment. This is a card that basically reads, you have to now deal with anything that comes after the card. I am willing to try that, but it's not ideal. Here's Brainstorm. I don't want the Chandler, and I don't think I want the land. Oh, I'm drawing one of them. Never mind. So I guess in that case, I will No, we're flipping. What am I talking about? We're flipping, and I'm casting Ponder right away, so I should put that on top. Ponder. These cards are bad. Bobble. I mean, why not? That's an Orcish Bowmasters that hopefully is uncastable. If the opponent just has slow rolled fetch land, so when I say slow rolled, I'm not talking about like bad manners or anything, but if they have a black land in hand, then this game is unwinnable. They don't, so we end up in the situation that is more or less the only I can win. It's a play like this where I get to use that creature, draw a wasteland here, right, deck, right? Nope. Yeah. Let's cast Flow State. I can take one card here. That should be the Brainstorm, I feel like. I don't think I'm winning a game where I need to convert, basically, because I have so few live cards in my deck. The problem is they have an infinite 2-drops, so... I mean, my opponent has some more black cards in hand, I have a chance, but this is a tough one. Prismatic Ending, like, it's the lesser evil here, that's for sure. And now I have a lot of shots to get to the Wasteland, and yeah. Here's Brainstorm. Here's Hydroblast, which is not bad. To put back those cards. And now the reality of the situation is probably... Oh, maybe I should have gotten rid of Murktide here. The reality of this situation is I should have probably gotten rid of the Murktide instead of whatever other card I put back. This Daze might be good. This Wasteland is good next turn. And then I have Preordain underneath. Yeah, I think I have to believe this. I played a land, right? Yeah, I played a land. Yeah, this is questionable. Let me put it that way. Now, do I play around Pyroblast on the bombardment? Okay, I guess I do. Uphill. Uphill. And there's the land, which means Bowmaster. Daze is off. Wasteland is less good. I don't like this. Looks like we will be taking a loss shortly. How do I win this game? It probably has to do with drawing an answer for Leyline and being super lucky with Delvers, out of which 2 are already gone, I believe. Yep. A Johnny getting cast here with Caracas up is a really good move for the opponent. But I think the Wasteland on top of my deck can kind of handle that. I wonder if they should bounce it right away. I don't think that would be insane, but they decide to not go for that. Let's try and kill the Caracas. Guess I need my removal spells to be good. Did they bounce in response? They choose not to anyway. Let's kill that card and pass. Yeah, the Leyline into a functional hand. That's tough. They mulligan to 6 or stuff like that. It's a little bit more manageable. So now the opponent keeps drawing the land, which is bad for me, I think. We're gonna exchange Bolt for Bowmaster. They get more material on the battlefield. I don't love this, I must say. Here's the Bowmasters we knew about. Here's the Lightning Bolts. And it's looking grim for the home team here. Daze didn't end up doing anything. Low State looks at more cards, but it's also kind of mana intensive. I don't think Wasteland makes any... Well, Wasteland turns on Daze, but I'm losing on board. That's so tough. I'll put away both here, but it's a tough one. Prismari Charm on Leyline is a play, and then in theory, dazing it on the way back could become a reality. I don't know how I can win this game. The opponent needs to natural draw some Leylines and some. The thing is, even land so they can replay would be annoying. Yeah, I can't really see it, but we're gonna of course play it out here. So with the opponent passing here, you guys can play along at home. What's the opponent's hand? They don't make land drops. They don't make plays, right? We're in a lot of trouble here. So I guess the good news is this cuts off Pyroblast. So I should make this play. Then I should pass. And then I should bounce the Leyline. Return the Leyline before my opponent gets another main phase to deploy red mana. Smart play is smart, because one of the ways to win this game is they're screwed on red and they don't, get to unlock Pyroblast later. This is a game we can win. If they have mono red cards in hand and we, build Graveyard with cantrips, we get a Murktide in time. Oh, what's this? Oh, that's a good card. Yeah, now I think the window's shut because they simply kill us too fast. And it turns off cantrips that were great draws. All right, that was a sweet match. Good luck in the rest, opponent. And yeah, I hope to face more, let's say, favorable matchups for the results part of this video. But I actually think we're getting some awesome situations when you're kind of playing uphill. And yeah, I do value that for content. All right, let's see you guys for the next round. Guys, quick pause on the video here. I want to tell you why you should consider becoming a Booksmart Baron over on my MetaFi. I have high-level strategy articles. I have a free tournament series with thousands of treasure chests up for grabs, and of course, unique art for the yearly finals. I have 300+ players sharing their ups and downs on their journey. I have the challenge calls with a bunch of guys spectating each other's road towards greatness. I have a smattering of VIPs. I have the best guest primers from the absolute biggest killers in the legacy scene. And here's some testimonials for you to read. And of course, I have my own tried and tested deck guides for my favorite decks that either I've done 5-0s with or top 8 challenges. So yeah, what are you waiting for? Use code ECO50 to save off of your first month. If you don't like it, I'll refund you. Now, let's get back to the video. All right, guys, round 4 of the challenge. We're currently 2-1 with Izzet Delver. We have gone over 3 on desirable matchups, and we're still in the tournament, so I'm going to focus on that. Let's see what we're up against here. The basic island into... Hope it's not Tamiyo, because then I would have to force a will it probably. So wonder what my opponent makes of my Volcanic Island preordained turn. Also, it's a little bit of a problem. I don't know if my opponent's show and tell or the mirror match. The opponent with the shuffle. If they shuffle in the dark, they might have info. I guess they can just see that I'm a fair blue gamer at heart. These cards both have to go. I'm looking for colored sources. I don't want to lose to Wasteland, and I want to cast my spells, so that's a double whammy against any deck. Let's see what this is. Mirror match. Ori. Okay. I will daze that card, because if that works, maybe I have a Force of Will later. It did not work, so I don't have a Force of Will later. So let's think about this. I am going to Force of Will again. Then I'm going to... Oh, wait a minute. The opponent plays smart here. I'm not going to Wasteland. That's important. Should I put away Flow State or Murk? I should probably force with the first copy of Flow State here. Let's see if my opponent also has a Force of Will. How much do you like the cutter? They like it enough. Yeah, my deck was just a miss this tournament, unfortunately, with the matchups I faced. Maybe that was bad, planning. Maybe that was bad luck. But even playing against the mirror with cutter, I just put myself in a corner. I think I have to trust this Channeler. And I want the second land. The ship has kind of sailed for the wasteland. What's my hope? My hope is this, I guess. The opponent has a land and 2 unknowns in hand. Am I willing to get dazed here? I think I'm willing to get dazed here. So what does that mean? That means I'm casting Flow State. Because I think a part of what the opponent could have in hand here is Lightning Bolt. And I don't want them to use, like, they draw a random bobble or creature, and then all of a sudden, because they can bolt the Channeler, Corey is on. So, yeah, let's see if that works out for me. I'm basically saying I think it's way more likely that you have Bolt in hand at this point than Ace number 2. So, nice with a little payoff here. So I'm going to take Chandler Bobble here every day of the week. And now I have to think about my sense of urgency with this Bobble. I think it's better for me to play it next turn when I have Chandlers in play. I guess the only upside is something like magically spiking Force of Will and then countering a Murktide. That would be troublesome, but I think I need to cross my fingers a little bit here instead. Tough situation, though. They mill Forest, like, that's better than them keeping the card, right? So this is a time bomb waiting to happen on the side of my opponent. Ooh, this is something I didn't consider. So they were just waiting for this, and then they bolt my face and really attack. Yeah. Okay, so we knew about the bolt. Well, we predicted the bolt, but the second cutter there, that's backbreaking. So now, how do I win this game? I think I win this game by my opponent having straight up nothing, so they have to pass into my Chandlers. Because if they double spell into the channel, like, then we're just losing, right? So we have to assume they don't. Double Chandler. Is that lethal? No, I need too much help, but okay, so let's think about this. Chandler. Can they have daze in this spot? The problem is if they do, then they end up dazing the Murktide anyway, so I should not worry about that. Bauble. I don't think I want that card. Delver is too slow, I believe. Let's see what the opponent draws before we make a move with our Thundering Falls. Boy. Okay, now I think I have to wasteland my opponent because then it's harder to double spell with that card. But sheesh, that card takes care of, that card takes care of my Chandlers in combat, unfortunately. So now they can go attack, cast that card as a combat trick. Oh, they're just going to do it here. Wow, so if they get dazed here, now maybe it's okay because they still forced a trade. Okay. Yeah, maybe the play is just good. They might as well give themselves a chance to spike the bauble, right? And they spike the next bolt. Okay. Or the land for the bolt. Probably, yeah. Okay, nice play. So now they're wondering what they should do, but they should just cast a spell now to get the double monks, of course. Okay. Yeah, this is tough. When you face 4 bad matchups in a row, you should look at yourself and how you how do you like your build against the field. And I don't. That's the question. That's the answer to that question. Wow. Core Steel Cutter. I just consider that card so bad against any unfair deck. But if you're not facing unfair decks, it's awesome, right? So it's just a polarized card, kind of like, let's say Orcus Bowmasters out of Dimir. Then you're like, oh, you play against some Ponder Tameo deck? It's great. And then you play against, I don't know, Lands or Eldrazi or Forge, you know, the Tron deck or Oops, and it's terrible. And we certainly didn't nail that this tournament. As I said on the other match, I enjoy the uphill battle for content, so results-wise, I'm crying inside. But uphill battle-wise, I'm as excited as ever to take on the challenge. All right, facing down elimination here. Down a game in the pseudo mirror against somebody who had double cutter. I mean, that's amazing. That card will bury your mirror match opponent unless you get pretty lucky. And you can kind of jam their hand and then get away with murder. All right, this hand is a keep. We are desperately hoping for those wastelands to be live. If my opponent goes duel into Ponder, there's a chance I should not sack my Flooded Strand, actually. But if they go creature, I think I have to, because then I'm really interested in finding, you know, the Bolt or the Pyro and what have you. Or a Steel Cutter, huh? What a card in any matchup that is fair. And what a terrible card in any matchup that is unfair. I sometimes joke with people that I've had a bad lands matchup for 20 years. Feels like kind of the same situation here, that if I'm just an oops player, I'm laughing at that card, right? Or sneak and show player and whatever. So now what with no, like, I feel like I should surveil here. I'd be pretty excited about not drawing a land, basically. Let's get rid of the land, basically telling our opponent, you cannot hurt my mana this game. Delver of Secrets, not bad, not bad. I think I should... Should I allow myself to get dazed? And then play the Delver? Is that a good, like, tempo play? Or should I simply just Brainstorm Fetch? I think it's probably better. Brainstorm Fetch here is good. I can easily get rid of one Wasteland, and you could even convince me about two. So I'm getting smoked by Corey, so I cannot you know, I cannot worry about that card essentially. So maybe if they have that card, we're in trouble. So let's try and focus on the other scenarios. The other scenarios is like the game slows down, they bolt my guy, then what? Then I want to go Chandler Wasteland probably. The one flow state here is fine, especially because the first one is going to be kind of bad anyway. So I'm going to play Delver here because I don't have any spare mana to get value out of Chandler. In general, if I have the choice, I'll play Delver first because I really want to get some mileage out of the Chandler. So if my opponent doesn't play Cutter here, it doesn't mean they don't have it, unfortunately. It just means they respect Daze to some extent. The card is really a key card, and after I cut a Braid from my sideboard in order to fit the third consign, it's even better against the deck, right? I don't feel like I should try and rush this Brainstorm, so I'll just try and random flip. I do random flip with a Daze. That's a good draw. So if my opponent wants to like fire a weird attack step removal spell, I feel like I should Chandler first to kind of get a bonus out of that. This is a card that can Hydro on the stack, of course, which would be strong. Okay, so how do we play here? I think we just get through combat and then we kind of check out our options. That option could just be Wasteland Pass, to be honest. I think we can hit like a sorcery incidentally at some point and make the flow state be a draw too. So now the opponents, if they were planning on surveilling end of turn, that kind of goes out the window. But they need red mana to interact with our board, unless it's Hydro, of course, but I feel like they would have Hydroed on the stack. Brainstorm is a good one. Brainstorm resolves, so the chance of my opponent having Cutter goes up. I wonder if they end step Bolt onto the Channeler. That's probably a Core Steel Cutter sign. But then I think it's somewhat easy for me to go Wasteland your Volcanic, then fight with Daze. Yeah, that would be my plan. Pretty interesting game where I'm winning on board, but they have the inevitability from having a better threat suite in the mirror. As always, thank you so much for following me here, following my journey. It's always crazy to think about that you can do whatever you want with your day, but you're watching this. That's kind of unreal concept to think about. You could be, first of all, doing anything else but, you know, Magic, but then you could also be watching other Magic players than me play the game, right? Pretty crazy. I haven't, when I went full time, I didn't really think about it that way. Because if I thought about it that way, I don't think I would ever, I don't think I would ever went for it, which is funny. This just sounds so unreasonable. All right, the Pyroblast. So let's do the play that I thought about before, which is Wasteland first, then Daze the Pyroblast. I like that a lot because they can't Daze back their duel now. Land into the bin. So now you can... They're not forcing. I wonder what the plan is. If they play Murktide, I'm kind of on the lookout for Pyroblast myself. They're getting a Daze out of there. It's a tough situation for the opponent because they're facing potentially a lot of pressure, and but I know it's tough for me, right? It's not that bad for the opponent because I can't handle Cutter nor, okay, no Cutter, we can rule that out. Cutter nor Murktide. They don't know that, of course. Okay, they're wobbling their own library, so maybe they're looking for instant speed stuff, and they just have a land pass situation. Am I instepping this Brainstorm? Yeah, I think I am. And then maybe if they develop a creature, I can set up the Upkeep Bolt, but then I'm potentially getting dazed. So I guess I only do that if I have like a bad... Okay. Low state for the full amount is all right with me. Now I'm really digging for Delirium. 2 types off, though. That's a lot. End step Brainstorm. Let's see if we can hit a creature or artifact here. That would be amazing. I think I have to do better than this. Here's Brainstorm. So now I can preordain away a preordain. That's probably fine. But what's better, developing more threats or working harder for Delirium? Probably more threats, right? Yeah, let's try and find that bauble. That bauble would be amazing here. Let's get rid of the somewhat clunky sorcery. Then we see these clowns. These are pretty solid. So the Delver, it gives me Delirium. So now, should I develop another Delver? or bolt my opponent out, then I put my opponent at 7. 7 is enough for my opponent to stabilize with Merc, which is a little bit annoying. I mean, maybe it's going to be hard. Okay, bolt 13, mill 7. Then if their path is a fetch land, they're dead. Top card is Delver. If Chandler dies, I draw the Delver, which is unexciting. Okay. Okay, opponent. I'll play aggressive here. 13, 7. So if they have a fetch land, Murktide draw, they're dead. Because 7 fetch to 6, one guy getting through, and 1 bolt is lethal. So I guess don't try this at home, but I'm trying to get over the finish line here in a game where my opponent has a million more cards than me. This is awesome for me because the wasteland doesn't interact with the board, and they only have 1 land drop. So now my opponent can only unload 1 thing. So now they need Force of Will to not die, basically. Or Daze, I guess. Okay. Daze is on here. Didn't think about it. If I draw land, I fire immediately. So losing, well, the opponent stabilizes with Daze here, so I actually think I should play a creature, which is funny. Because they also have to Daze that card, right? So the logic is simply just, this card does not win the game immediately, but it's better to sequence it like this. I think if they had Dazed, they would have Dazed me there. Seems crazy to let me play like this. So now they need to kill the Flying Delver. And they need the other one either to not flip or also kill that. And then they have to handle the bolt. Maybe they can do that. Maybe they just have, I don't know, bolt Murktide or whatever. Yeah, this is the same thing. Well played by the opponent. If I draw land, I fire the bolt. But if I don't draw land, then I think I'm chilling. Okay. Rooting hard for land. We do hit the land. Okay, well, I think I should cast this card because Force Blue card is less likely than Daze. Okay, we get there. That was cool. What a cool game. That bolt to the face to mill the Delver, that was key to getting away with murder here, right? Because if I just chill there, this game becomes a lot more complicated. Clunky cards in hand. The flow state from my opener and never got a time to fire off. Well, maybe I did, but I didn't think of it as a good idea. Let me put it that way. All right. Game 3 on the draw. I'm already trimmed on dazes, so no need to worry more about that. This is my setup for the mirror. And yeah, let's see. 4 Steel Cutter out of that deck. That's the danger, man. I guess with me drawing Hydro, it's less of a danger card. My hand will probably have to chill a little bit. Turn 1 Chandler would make this awkward, because then I actually have choices to make with regards to the cutter. Okay. This is always the opening you want out of any Delver deck. So, depending on what I draw, I should probably bobble. Maybe not, actually. Maybe I should chill on, well, Yeah, what's the advantage to chill on the bobble? That don't want to proactively fetch. Yeah, maybe I just see my opponent's top card and take it from there. I think that's fine. They draw Volcanic Island. So I am rooting for my opponent to go. I draw the third land here, which is fine. I don't mind that. The thing is, Brainstorm fixes this later, whether I need land or I need spells. Rooting for my opponent to put Cutter on the stack, because I actively want to, like, exchange Hydro for it, and then kind of move on with my day from there. Okay. There exists a world where I'm supposed to just take the turn and play a land. Mishra's Bauble. It's funny. Mishra's Bauble. I guess let's use that on myself this time around. A lot of cards are good here, including maybe that card. I guess that card. So now what? I'm gonna play this land. Pass. Draw the Wasteland, because with the island fetch, I kind of sense weakness, and I think my opponent will go for Surveil here a lot of the time. Okay, Brainstorm, that makes sense. I think they'll go Surveil here a lot of the time. Now, the bigger question is now, after resolving a Brainstorm, does that now make Wasteland a crapshoot, and I should draw another card instead? I think that actually might be true. Yeah, I think that might be true. So what I'll do here is I'll fetch, put Preordained into the yard. What does that mean? Turbo Merc? Maybe? Should I draw the Wasteland? I'll not believe the Wasteland. I'll 180 after the opponent ends to Brainstorm. It's just any spell, you know, any creature, any removal spell seems better. It's just so likely my opponent just has the third land and they keep playing. Here's Cutter. So I'm rooting hard for my opponent to come out over the, like, try and Pyroblast me here. Please Pyroblast me, bro. Please. Cutter is the best card in the matchup. Funny. Delver of Secrets is a card I will actually daze, because I don't know how good Daze is going to be moving forward. So it's not necessarily that that card is a disaster, it's that I can cash in a Daze here. The opponent with 3 cards. Flow State is on for my opponent. Wasteland. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. I think I will try and Daze check my opponent here. I don't expect them to ever do it though, but... Ooh, these cards are great. These cards are absolutely great. So let me just get my hands on some Flow States. Now the question is, should I Wasteland my opponent? Do I believe or do I not believe? In theory, there exists a situation where that Wasteland is what allows me to use Daze. What's my next card? My next card is a Flow State, so I'll be jamming those. Let's try with the Wasteland. I'm not confident about this at all. Because if I get wasted, this could end up looking silly. But if I get to, you know, Daze powerful 2-drops, you know, maybe I look like a genius. And now I'm trying to basically bury my opponent with Flow States, because I know I have 2. I don't know how many my opponents got, but I know I have 2, and that's a game plan, right? Classic Delver stuff going on. Here's the land drop. Here's my opponent seeing the card Flow State on top, and here's my opponent passing with what is probably Pyroblast. Probably Pyroblast. My next card was, I think, Preordain. Do I want to draw Preordain or a random magic card? I should probably be interested in drawing a random magic card. So here's flow state that's a must counter, and if this gets countered, it's one less Pyroblast to worry about later. Yep, that works. So I'm scared of the second cutter. Most other stuff I can deal with. Let's see. I spoke too soon because of flow state. I'm scared of my opponent chaining flow states. I should say that. Let's see. This has a little bit of Murktide tapping all over it. Here's Murktide Regen. Murktide Regen is a 7/7. So it beats them Holy Heat, but they have a little bit of rebuild going on because they're a flow state deck and all of that jazz. So very cool dynamic. Lightning Bolt is not going to do it. I think this is a good turn to cast Prismari Charm, because there is a chance one of my opponent's last card is either second Pyro, or even Hydro, in which case I get to cash in a Daze at a late stage of the game. So let's try and return the Merc to its owner's hand. That worked out nicely for me. Okay. So we got some breathing room here. Also, the good news is our future Murktide is bigger than the 4/4 my opponent can currently develop. Okay, 3/3 is good. And now, here comes the Daze question. Do I want to get dazed this stage of the game? And I think the answer is yes, because it looks like flow state into stuff is going to be my next play. Let's see it, opponent. Them getting to cash in a Daze here is great for them, but I couldn't give them the credit this time around with my hand being pretty mana hungry. The opponent is giving it a good think here. Then lets it go, so whether that's a bluff or an actual consideration, who knows. Let's cast Flow State first, and then Delver. Let's see if there's a Pyroblast. It looks like there is indeed a Pyroblast. So that's a good play for the opponent. Then I'll play Delver, pass. And my opponent now has a pretty big Murktide, and my outs are my own Merc, Heat, I think. 1, yes. Heat, Merc, that's 4. And triple Pyro, so plenty of outs here before that card takes care of business. But I like my spot here in general. I will say my opponent has a higher density of flow states in the deck. So if they get those guys going, I'm in trouble. My opponent did a good job of holding up mana on the turns they were predicting me to flow state. Never allowed the Daze to be good. A way for me to win this game is the opponent goes something like Ponder, tap out for Merc, and I get to cash in a sicko Daze. Let's see what they drew here. We know about the Murktide Regent. Okay. Maybe my opponent's thinking about, like, are they winning the game if they slow roll the Merc further? Because it is not the best size to Merc here, right? Holding up Island is curious. I wonder what that means. 1 card left in hand. Oh, they just made it a 4/4. That's cool. That is a cool one. I don't think flipping this makes a lot of sense. It's better to dig deeper with Brainstorm. Drawing Pyroblast like a champ. Yeah, I should be trying to clear the Murktide right away. So if they have Hydro as the last card, it is what it is, right? That's never going to go away. Their mana is so good. So let's try and do this. No Hydro. That was great for me. Now, am I supposed to try and step on the gas here? I guess let's get in for damage first. By stepping on the gas, I basically mean drawing next Delver and next Channeler That's about it. I guess brainstorm into some cantrip is wash, just a decent use of mana. Okay. So let's see. So the daze flips the Delver, but the daze is bad, right? So I should go. Put back daze, put back ponder. Play this to play around daze. And then pass. So my opponent's last card, I don't think is Bolt. It could be a naked cutter. Does that make sense? Yeah, it makes a little sense. Okay. My opponent's willing to recur a removal spell here. I think that's totally fine. So, I mean, well, if their last card is Cutter, this is not totally fine. There's actually a great play by the opponent because they set up the must deal with Merc, and then they set up the Carter trigger here. Yeah, that's masterful. I'm ready for this. Unfortunately, I feel ready. They know the coast is clear. If that card is a Cutter, the opponent is a genius, and we have a game on our hands. If that card is not Cutter, oh, Prismari Charm. That was the last card. So they could have used that to kill both things, but they didn't. So they're basically saying, I have stuff like Merc and Cutter and stuff, so I'm happy leaving you with Delver in play. Also, this Surveil 2 draw card frequently comes up with a way to kill the Delver, so, ooh, they like 2 cards. That's not good for me. So I'm going to flip with Ponder, and now I have to think about how to play. Because I know my top card is bad, that's a Daze. And I have a Surveil Lane in my deck. Maybe. Huh. How do I dig the best possible towards the next threat? Because fetching now, that means I get to see one more card, but it also means if I have an awkward Ponder, yeah, I think this is the best hedge, but I'm not sure. Dragon Rage Channeler into a Ponder, that's solid, right? So keep those, play that card, attack for 3. So now I'm basically saying it's a Murktide or bust for the opponent. I mean, removal spells work as well, but I'm currently racing Core Steel Cutter quite handily. So Cutter into Merc is the nightmare. Cutter into a lot of other things is fine. Okay. So wait a minute. My next draw is a cantrip, I believe. Okay, Chandler's still doing fine here. They can't attack. The Surveil takes care of the bad card. The D's. And here's Murktide Regent. Okay, this is incredible. So Murktide Regent getting rid of instant sorcery, instant. Guess this sorcery. Now I'm gonna attack for 3 in the air, and my opponent needs the best card ever. My top card is Lightning Bolt. What is the best card ever from here? Pyroblast. Okay, let's go. Do I think Lightning Bolt is better than a random card? The opponent's at 7, which is an annoying number. So basically, the bolt will be bad if my opponent draws an answer, unless I think I can get to multiple bolts. Yeah, that should probably be my move. So except to draw the bolt, I'm sad to admit that I forgot the top card, but I guess that's kind of a free roll with this lightning bolt to find out. The opponent's at 4. They need an answer for the channeler. If not, the game's over. They got an answer for the channeler. Okay, that's cool. So now I will embarrassingly... Oh man, that's so bad that I can't remember the top card. Bolt them. Okay, it was this one. So wait a minute, in theory, yeah, I botched it here because that was... So what did I need to do? Well, remember the top card. So I would need to surveil. Yeah, I messed it up. Because I could have had one more look here for greatness. So if I surveil in response, have a look, then cast the bolt if it's a bad card. Yeah, we messed this up. I could have looked one card deeper this game. And here's a bad flow state. Okay, I guess that's worth thinking about. So now my opponent just wants to chain cantrips, basically. So I'll have to unholy heat a monk here to try and give myself more turns for the bolt. Pretty cool situation that not keeping track of the third card from Ponder there is punishing. Also, wonder what the score is here. I think I have to play faster. But maybe I'm misremembering it. It's game 3. I guess I promised you guys to keep better track of that, but yeah, too hard of a game. Oh boy. Let's do this by time. Then I'm facing a 2/2, which is, you know, playable. Then I have a little bit more time to come up with the bolt. I'm at 10. Probably have a few turns now. I don't deserve to draw this card at all, but here we go. Lightning bolt. They have Hydro that covers it. Then we keep playing. They don't have Hydro. Yeah, yeah, I mean, I guess I should just be satisfied with playing well 99% of the time and then having, you know, those small things that are very important, right? Because on any given Sunday, I die to aggro here because I don't optimize my looks. If this comes one turn too late, I mean, then we're having a different conversation. So just be aware to keep track of everything and yeah, don't record and speak in a secondary language when you're playing competitive Magic. No. I'm obviously trying to do it all here, and I know I'm not playing on a perfect level, but yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying it as well. It was kind of clear what the game plan was. I just didn't execute it to perfection. So yeah, that's going to be the goal for the next one. We keep alive. We get to see another day. So yeah, see you in round 5. All right, round 5 is upon us here in the challenge. We're still alive, and that's more than you can say about most players entering this tournament. So I'll never take that for granted. This hand looks like turn 1 Delver, and we kind of take it from there. Then hopefully we either flip the Delver, canter into the land, vice versa, and we can kind of keep on the pressure. Dreddy is a player who's been playing, used to play a lot of non-blue decks, but then also played a lot of blue decks. So I guess let's see what Dreddy brought to the table. The Eldrazi deck. Okay. Eldrazi into Petal. Is this the Chalice? That would be devastating. Absolutely devastating here with the turn 1 Chalice against his hand. Now we are in Trouble, the absolute worst 1-drop creature from the top of the deck. I think I should just start jamming stuff into the graveyard here. This is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Jamming stuff into the graveyard because of Flow State and Murktide. Okay, the opponent bricks. So you're saying there's a chance. Blooded Strand. So funny. Blooded Strand. Let's put a creature into the bin and then look to surveil. So now what? I need to mill an instant for Flow State to be on. Maybe the opponent still has no play here. That's a big maybe. Oh, they play a 2/2 out. Okay, that's playable. Thundering Falls. How do we feel about land? Land is probably pretty bad here. I mean, it doesn't flip the Delver. I don't think I'm in a position to worry about that. My mana base here. Oh my god. So bad flips. Because they're not land, they're not wastelands, and they don't flip it. Like, everything is just bad. So here are the players to try and spike an instant off a flow state. Oh, never mind. It's not a channeler. Okay, I even botched. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Long story short, I have no idea what I'm doing here. Okay. Let's take a land. Let's... Do I bin a channeler here? Does that even make sense? I don't think it makes sense. So, fun enough, my brain thought I had a channeler in play, and I was casting flow state, trying to surveil the instant into the art for the bonus, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Busy day, busy day. Here's K command for 0. Simply just drawing a card. Okay, now I think the game is unwinnable unless I draw exactly Wasteland. Can I draw Wasteland? So what do I need to do? I need to, like, flip the Delver, shuffle, draw the Wasteland. Otherwise, I'm super cooked. Let's see. That's the third creature in a row. That's not a game I can win, unfortunately. That's too funny. Bobble. Yeah, the thing is now my opponent can unload their hand, and this sucks, and everything's bad. Can I Murktide again next turn? Let's see. Murktide Regent. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bobble is the third one. I should probably look at some situation where I get to double Murk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe. Oh, man. Oh, boy. Yeah, I fat fingered here. I forgot about the fact that I tapped 3 mana. That was the whole point about preserving stuff in the graveyard. Oh boy. All right. Let's see the spells that kill us, and we can reset. And when you're getting chaliced and you have the worst draws of your lifetime, you cannot fat finger on top of that. That's illegal. You should save the fat fingering for when you're drawing the nuts, and you have wiggle room to not having to play your best. So here's the bounce spell. Super annoying. Okay, I've had enough here. And I guess Eldrazi. So our sideboard is now turned on. These cards are good, and we have a lot of bad cards here. So these cards are at least worth considering. So let's get rid of the Dazes. Now, what's on the chopping block? Something like 1 bolt will go for sure. Maybe even 2. The logic here is basically, is Unholy Heat better if I have a 2-1 split? Because I think it's better as a 3-1 split, but I'm not sure about the 2. Basically saying that card is gone. Maybe a single copy of Flow State. You can also argue that Preordain. Yeah, okay, let's cut a Preordain because not that I'm happy to go down sorceries, but if I can hedge a tiny bit against Chalice of the Void, I think that's playable. With me being on the play here, I'm not going to prioritize Force of Negation, but I just might when I'm on the draw. All right, this is very polarized. I will turn 1 Delver, and then if my opponent has the 2 mana and a Chalice, I'm in big trouble. But I can't give them, they're a dangerously fast deck. I can't give them that, you know, what do you call it? Like benefit ahead of schedule. So here's Hamlet basically saying Wasteland is not gonna do it this game. Let's see if there's pedal and stuff. No pedal and stuff. Let's see if we're lucky this time. Come on, Delver Secrets. Flipping with flow state. All right. I am gonna hold up consign to memory here. Also note that this is a trigger. So in theory, if I had consign up, I could have countered that and then started wastelanding my opponent. So my opponent has a fun draw here. So I guess they can K command me right about, you know, after I surveilled here. Do I like Lightning Bolt more than the average card? No, I don't. They let me untap, which is cool. So I'm rooting to get K commanded here because my opponent will treat that as them clearing that card from my hand. And then the second one is hopefully going to be good. Misty Rainforest. Land, attack for 3. And now the cavern will kind of cook me. But otherwise, I like the spot. Cavern cooks me, confirmed. Let's see what it is. Me milling over the bolt just might be terrible here. Yes, Fleshraker. Fleshraker pass, which doesn't look very scary. Wasteland Shutdown. Price of Progress is a card that's in my deck. On a Holy Heat, that is a good draw. That is a very good draw. Let's heat this clown. No, I probably shouldn't do that first. I probably should not do that first. So let's see. What happens if I fetch? Maybe I'm supposed to play land flow state. Take it from there. That's better, right? Okay. Land. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, there's just a colorless land? Okay, it's a colorless land. Cast flow state. Holding up consign. It's not that exciting here because of maybe these cards are just bad because I have the what I'm like the cards flowing here with flow state. Oh, no. Oh, shoot. It's not a ponder. Oh, man. I really need to focus here. I'm taking one of these Magic the Gathering cards. Gotcha. So this card, if my opponent follows up with Linebreaker, how sad am I? Is that fine? Because currently I'm winning the race. Linebreak, let's see, attack to 11, attack to 8. So I think I'm just looking for Price of Progress at this point. I should put Ponder into my hand. It looks slightly deeper. Unholy Heat that clown. Still holding up the consign in case what? In case my opponent has Thought Nuts here, I guess. Or like the Bound Eldrazi. Or K command. Yeah, holding up here is perfect. I'm working on my opponent's life total to a point where the prices in my deck are good. Petrified Hamlet here showing its potential because sure, the opponent is giving up tempo. That's a land drop that way. They could have developed a soul land, right? So it has to do whether the game is getting out of hand in the meantime. Yeah, now I have to crack this because that's a new play pattern. This is the first time I've ever seen it, so I'm actually happy that I thought about it. I wonder if it's suspicious if I go for the island. Let me read this card again. Activated lands. I think it's fine to go for the island here. Now the opponent can name a land. So by the way, this is why the card has a trigger, right? Because usually those lands will not have a trigger. It's like a static ability, but that would be too nasty against fetches in Eternal formats. Okay, opponent. That island, does that tip you off that I'm a dirty back to basics gamer? Maybe. Reality Smasher, that is a good one. Now, is that Racing the Delver? Maybe. But that is a big maybe, huh? So let's draw Bauble. Not bad, not bad. Let's cast a good flow state. Here's Lightning Bolt and Channeler. That is enough to have a lethal next turn. So I will take Dragon Rage Channeler and Lightning Bolt. I will now cast Dragon Rage Channeler. Bobble my way to Delirium. What about this card? I don't think it's going to cut it. Let's see what you're working with next turn. Just a random Rainbow Land. That's all good. So now I have Lethal in the Air combined with the Bolt, and I'm holding up Consign. I like my spot here. The opponent needs some crazy double spelling. What the second card is going to be. Okay, now they can actually do it. Now they can, if they have like 2 crazy Eldrazi's, they can do it. Glaring Fleshraker, uncounterable. You got it. Into, I guess, the Hasty Boy. That's funny. No, the Herald. So what happens if I bolt the Fleshraker in response here? Because I don't want my opponent to cast further stuff. And then I use the second bolt to beat my opponent. Chalice then gets me. Okay, let's do the math. Because the Lord, so let's see. That's going to ping me to 12, 11. Attack for 6. I think I'm alive here. Let's not get chaliced, because that would actually beat me. Okay. Attack for 6. I'll go to 5. And then I think we got there. That was cool. The opponent has 2 mana here. I should just untap. I guess for good measure, I bolt my opponent here on upkeep. To see if I can draw a slightly better card. Let's get in with the Flyers. And we have forced a game 3. Scary stuff. Note that Unholy Heat does not kill the Linebreaker early. Is that enough for that card to just be bad? Or does Reality Smasher and Thought-Knot Seer kind of make up for that? I think the latter is the truth. Now the question is Flow State better than Preordain? Like, Flow State 4 versus Preordain 2. Both of them seem not great. I think I'm supposed to have at least 1 Force Negation in here. Am I supposed to have 2? That's the question. That's the question on everybody's lips. Am I supposed to have 2 in here? I'm just going to go with a single copy. All right. Basic elimination, just like we like it. I had a few oversights, to say the least. I guess that's just what comes to the territory of playing with new cards. So you're going to see 3 cards, you're going to look at a ponder, your brain is going to activate in a certain way. That's how I work anyway. Yeah, this hand is playable. This card can get run over. This hand can get run over. Yeah, I'll keep this hand. Hoping that my opponent cannot just keep the hits coming, basically. I'm hoping for some, I don't know, crack resources to chalice me, or crack resources to, you know, get bolted, or I can get wiggle room to get the Chandler online. I don't know, find my first wasteland. But yeah, this hand is, it looks like an easy keep, but it's really not. Like, it's very close. This is like a marginal keep. My opponent took the first mulligan, which I guess it's just makes it slightly better. Let's see if they have the Petal and the Chalice. That's the big one. They don't. So at the very least, we get to play the game. Oh man, consigned to memory. Consigned to memory. That is a card that I'm going to be holding up for this particular turn because of mainly Chalice of the Void. And if they just play like a random creature that I can bolt, I'm also reasonably happy. So now rooting for Chalice. Okay, they just play that guy. Is that something I should bolt end of turn? Or is that a card I should live with? The thing is, if I don't bolt, I have to bolt it, because then now bolt doesn't kill. Well, it kills Fleshraker, but it doesn't kill Linebreaker anyway. So let's lightning bolt that clown. The draw there is scary because it makes my stuff work poorly in a longer game. Oh boy. It looks like my mana is okay. Holding up consign. What am I consigning at this stage? I'm consigning the card K command. I think I'll try and be a little cutthroat here and go Chandler Ponder. I feel like this is a turn forward. Delver, this gives me Delirium. Okay. Let's get rid of that clown. Force of Will is quite polarized here in the sense that it, you know, it doesn't work against normal Eldrazi, and it never will. That's the thing. This looks like a shuffle to me. I love the Chandler, but the other cards are quite bad. If I'm sitting here countering triggers, the thing is, I could just like shuffle and find the Chandler, shuffle and find Delver, shuffle and find Murktide, shuffle and find Price of Progress. I think I just have too many good cards here to keep these. Even Flow State is on. And here's Murktide Regent. So how big can we make the Murktide? Because I really don't want it dismembered. Then I could use the logic that if the opponent has Dismember, they might dismember the Chandler. And then maybe that's my go sign. Tough call. If I Murktide my whole graveyard now, Chandler is small, how easily do I rebuild from that? I'm probably supposed to like leave creature in there because the other types are a little bit easier to get. But even sorcery could be a challenge for later. All right, let's see what this is. Line break. Oh, Thought Seer. That's a good one. That's a good one because that takes care of Big Merc. So I could Prismari Charm that on my upkeep. Am I racing that card? I think that's the big question on everybody's lips here. Am I racing that clown of a card? I could be. I think that's my answer. I'll Force of Will. That's horrible. Yeah, this is looking grim. Land is bad. I love to get rid of that. Because bouncing that card is not too exciting. I guess bouncing it end of turn is a little bit exciting. There's another cavern. The opponent's done a good job of having like those key lands. So let's see if I can find a good spot here. It looks like I can. Well, who knows? It looks like a K command situation. Let's see. It's not. Never mind. So here's Fleshraker. That resolves into probably nothing, but let's see if I'm right about that. Into playing the 2/2. So this card can't be countered. Never mind. Am I supposed to bounce the Thought Seer here? Or am I supposed to look for stuff? The opponent's down to one card. What kind of stabilizes the situation? Murktide Regen does. It looks like Price of Progress is getting too iffy as a plan. So I'm on Murktide Regen search. Okay. Yeah, the thing is, if I bounce this card, I'm actually seeing a decent chunk of cards. If I bounce the Thought-Knot Seer, I'm slowing the clock, seeing the Surveil, then also drawing a card. So I'm getting how many? 3 cards deep? Then they can take care of something in my hand later, but that's actually not that bad. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna bounce the Thought-Knot end of turn. This is so tricky. This is really down to the wire. And, like, guess that's not the right word for it because I'm horribly behind, but this is gonna be, let me put this away. If I make it out here, it's gonna be by the skin of my teeth. Return target online permanent to its owner's hand. Surveil. See Ponder, which is a lot of looks towards the Murktide, so I'll like it. I'll draw that, then draw Freshie for the turn. Can we do it? Force of Will. That's not the one. Nope. Many volcanics are gone. Don't want to make that mistake twice in this tournament. So if I attack my opponent to 14 now, I develop the Delver. I flip with the Bolt. 14. The next turn, I can put my opponent to 8. And then I think it's too late because my opponent's going to deal me too much damage. Yeah, I need to shuffle these. Bobble. That's probably not going to do it, let's be honest. And here's a Channeler that is way too late to the party. How do I play now? I think I can only play in one way, and that is letting my opponent take what's in my hand. This is a must attack, which is annoying against some 2/2s. So we know we're getting Thought-Knot Seared. Funnily enough, I didn't see a single Wasteland, so this had, like, only invisible, like, it didn't have effect on this actual game, but I think in general the card is quite strong, because a lot of decks will be leaning on... Oh, Reality Smasher. Yes, that is GG's. All right, we had a sweet run today. I can never complain about that. I didn't like the vast majority of matchups that I faced, but I think we did a pretty good job staying alive late into the tournament. And yeah, at the end of the day, that's all I'm asking for. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed some tempo action, playing uphill most of the time, but you know, that's fun. I do like a challenge, and I hope you do as well. And this was a legacy challenge after all, so living up to the name there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to 4 Seasons for sponsoring me over here, and I can't wait to welcome you back to some more sweet, sweet legacy action.